Hello, namaste. Psychic Frank, your host. Psychic Frank, Psychic Frank's Mystery School. That's my email. My email address, psychicfrank11 at gmail.com. And today's Friday, the 22nd of May, 2026. And Universal, I use a company. I'm Psychic Frank, I'm a healer. I use psychic ability, my own psychic ability. I'm like a conduit for this energy that flows out of me, and but I use my psychic abilities and tarot cards, numerology, and my own intuition. Last time I was here, we talked about fascism, and like the old Buffalo Springfield song, "Something's happening here." What it is ain't exactly clear. Well, no, what it is exactly clear. It couldn't be more exactly clear. Fascism, fascism. Oh, help us, Lord. Fascism is here. It's interesting how because of I don't know the funds for by the Trump for media, all kinds of public media like SF Commons and Bayvac. I'm going to get rid of this now. We'll put it back up because it's upstaging me. I didn't like that. I wore a cool flannel shirt with some red on it, but it just didn't look right. I just didn't feel right. This is how I gotta be comfortable. Oh, and on Haight Street at the Ganesha shop, they have a whole basket full of these Labradorite ammonites. Labradorite ammonites. And I think it was like 6,000 years before the dinosaurs ruled the planet. Ammonites were everywhere. They ruled for a while there. So, and they have a wonderful protective ability. And in spite of, I'm always wearing grounding beads, and this particular pendant makes your inner gifts come out very pronounced. But I guess there was something blocking my inner gifts. Because 2 weeks ago, I was walking around out of Rainbow Grocery and they're all doing all this construction. I was wearing an old pair of shoes I should have thrown away. They were good when they worked, and then they didn't, and they fell apart. And I get so used to wearing shoes that I break in and I don't want to part with them. I have an inner hoarder, maybe. Who knows? But anyway, I wiped out. I was waiting for the light to change. I turned and looked at this cute little dog, then looked over. The light had changed, and I just tripped right over. I don't know what, hit my head on a rock. This brother came over, a big black dude, this beautiful man, picked me up, helped me up, and said, "Man, you're bleeding." And my eyebrow was cut, and blood was dripping in big blobs of it all over this brown paper bag from the Rainbow Grocery. So I grabbed a handkerchief bandana and put it on my head, and made it home. And I got the bleeding to stop and cleaned it up. And then, the next morning I woke up, I had a shiner. I had a black eye. Oh, and now there's just a little bit left, and it's a little bit puffy, but and it was an initiation. It could have been a whole lot worse. I know, because I've had a whole lot. I've had some spills. You got to be careful when you're older, and I am 77. So, and Mars just went into Taurus a few days ago, last week, and I believe Mars and Taurus. It's interesting. Mars and Taurus. It's best way to say it is like uh, bull in a china shop. I have a Taurus rising, Taurus moon, Taurus north node in the 12th house, and when I get riled, that's a nice way of putting it. Um, things start breaking. Everything starts falling apart, and I have to just stop. I know now, after 7 decades on this planet, close to eight, I go, okay, Frank, chill, chill, and I just stop. I just stop what I'm doing, and I run to the cage and play with my parrot. God bless my parrot. By the way, she's doing wonderfully well. She loves I'm out of the house and I have this little studio to do my thing with. So the thing is I'm taping the show on the 22nd. It probably won't be aired for a couple of weeks. I won't be able to upload it to my YouTube channel for at least a week. And I'm grateful, for that. But it used to be for years I did a show. The next day it went out like I'm doing on a Friday, Saturday, it went out because it's all time sensitive. So if you're really into astrology, go. You can't trust me because by the time you get the information from me, it's done gone. So I plan to talk about something going on the 24th, but you probably won't even see this until way after it. So, but anyway, on the 24th, Mars is going in Taurus. Will be 5 degrees Taurus. Squaring. Everybody hates squares. Everybody loves trines and sextiles. Squares are windows of opportunity. Yeah, they're challenging, but they're well worth going through that window, opening it up. So that Pluto and Aquarius, and where this is happening for the, oh yeah, spoiler alert, July is going to be astrologically, well, historic. There's no other way to put it. We'll talk more about that because I do a show twice a month, the first and the third Friday, and because I'm off schedule, I'll probably be back in a week. The first Friday of June will be here in a week or so. So I'll be able to talk more about that, all the happenings in June. But for now, with the election going on, it's interesting. The paranoid hippie in me was thinking, oh, they did this because they didn't want my shows to go out because it might affect the election. Well, SF Commons, if the phones were working, Obama swears he was elected because of the Chicago cable access TV and the phones and all that. That's why he set it up when he had, as bad as the economic condition was when Obama took office first time, thanks to Bush Cheney. Um, he it gave SF Commons via Bayvac close to $100,000 to set up all this equipment, um, and now we don't have all that equipment. There's no phones, thanks to the fascists. Well, the mayor we have now, the bubble guy, the man in the bubble. And I saw him the other day in the Beta Breakers on TV. He was trying to blend in, and it's funny, bubble people in their little bubble always find each other, and then you see these little clusters of bubble people, all just totally obtuse to, fascism taking over or civil rights, human rights, flushed down the toilet, thanks to Gavin Nuisance, and this. I see what's this guy named Gory Laurie. I see him and I just say to myself, ignorance is bliss. He's either the most ignorant son of a bitch on the planet, or the most dangerous. It's sort of like what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., rest his soul, said when I think Vice President Nixon uh, was getting ready to run for the Oval Office presidency there, and he interviewed him, and what it wasn't televised back then or whatever, but he was interviewed after the interview, and it's on arcade film. If you search, you could find it, and it's also written up. Dr. King, in his own words, said that he what I get is Nixon probably did an Oscar did never probably he gave an Oscar winning performance because he bullshitted Dr. King. Dr. King said he told him about the growing up barefoot pilgrim, no, they call them Quakers, barefoot Quaker in Southern California, and probably laid it on about the taunts and of being poor and barefoot, and he really piled it on because Dr. King said he was such a sincere, open-hearted person. he really had me, he sort of, I'm paraphrasing here, had me in his corner. And then he looked at the camera and said, and if he wasn't, he's the most dangerous man on the planet, something to that effect. Well, he wasn't, and he is, and he was. And what he did for cannabis, and, just hurt, and it's still hurting. It just really took. Hollywood picked up his destroying the whole proof that cannabis is medicine, good natural medicine, and it provides just enough psychedelia to conquer so many addictions. It's totally a link to non-locality consciousness. It's a very healing thing, and talk about healing resources. How about uh, plundering resources, not acknowledging, wasting resources by just waste. And the biggest waste is the human potential. There are genius healers like myself, in all humility, who spend our lives studying and perfecting healing gifts. Like, say for instance, but the whole consciousness is messed up, because I spent, I don't know, since the 70s, when I lived in a commune in Hawaii during Ronald Reagan, when I dropped out. Yeah, I dropped out um, from Nixon to Reagan, and then in '82 I dropped back in, and that's when I had my total. I was hell bent on self destruction. I wasn't gonna stay, but after by '82, September 19, 1982, I believe I died and came back in one body. But I had this total amazing out of body experience. We're not going to talk about it today. I believe it was more than an out of body experience because I've read up on it. I was one. I was offered to stay, but see, the secret is nobody dies. That's the thing. The worst thing is a life unlived. The worst thing is a life unlived. Yeah. So with the election on us now, people are showing their true colors. Okay, there's this wonderful thing. It's called Pissed Off Voters Guide. Pissed Off Voters Guide. Get on their mailing list, San Francisco League of Pissed Off Voters. And I like what they say about, it's interesting because there's these, super PACs now behind Scott Weiner, um, the mayor, of course, and of course Nuisance. And these guys are all Reaganomics. If you see Donald Trump, he's always in the office, in the Oval Office, and he always likes to picture himself with Ronald Reagan, right? Like he's the right hand of Ronald Reagan incarnate. So I mean, it's all about Ronald Reagan. May he rest his twisted soul. And now you've got Gory Laurie, I don't know what his trip is, Um, he's on these super PAC ads now saying vote no on Proposition D, not yes on D. You want to vote yes on D to make the corporations. He said it'll be the destruction. All the big money is going to leave the city. Everybody's going to be unemployed. F you. This is what Ronald Reagan gave us 30 fucking years ago, you stupid son of a bitch. No, no, no. Maybe we'll get mom and pop businesses back. Let them go. They don't belong here anyway. They're just fleecing us. We're working 3 jobs. See, okay, calm down, Frank. The middle class never did better. The 70s, the assassinations, the late 60s, the 70s, one of the Kennedys. The middle class had never done better historically. It was reaching the 70s. It was the high 60s, and they were the bad guys were shitting bricks. They were really pissed off. They said they gotta stop this. So they got Reagan in. He brainwashed the World War II guys. These colors don't run are still around. The offspring of the brainwash. What's his name? Graham, Billy Graham. Between Billy Graham and Ronald Reagan, we were screwed, royally with a cactus and no lube, so you get that son of a mother, Laurie, the moron, what do I call him, butt plug. I don't know. I had a name for him, a human butt plug. Yeah, he's out there saying that, trying to scare the shit out of people, saying vote no on letting let the corporations keep on raping you. Yeah, yeah, trickle down worked for you. You're the 1%, man. You're a whore. I would call your mother a whore. No, she's a cunt, but she's not. I don't know if she's a whore or not. She's a billionaire. Anybody's a billionaire, male or female. You're a cunt. You need to you need to repent, throw yourself in some kind of a monastery. So you're out there, you like you got canary feathers all over your face and out of your mouth saying, I didn't eat the canary. You're an offspring of a billionaire. Gavin just is your friend because he wants what you got. These guys, when they were all at Gavin too, they're all telling you, don't, no, they want trickle down economics. They're not ashamed of it. It worked for them. It's working for them. So naturally, he doesn't give a shit. He got his. Good luck getting yours. Excuse my voice rising there, but I lived through this crap. I'm 77 now. What do I got? A couple decades left. Before I go, we're gonna get cannabis out. Get Hollywood to stop. On its worst day, cannabis can't do any close to an iota of the harm that alcohol has done. Remember all the Trump Cheney, disaster, and all of like the list of turd blossom, uh, all of them, and they were passing a flask around when they were doing their their shutdowns, in Congress, what they call filibusters. They were literally proud of it. Little flasks of whiskey being, they weren't even proud of it. So our Congress people and senators were drunk, making laws for themselves. And now, yeah, before Reagan, you could have one job, a house, buy a car every couple of years so you could keep up with the Joneses if you were white, and or sell yourself out to be in a white, work for whites, but that had to come to an end. Now to everybody's got to work 3 or 4 jobs, both people in the household, to just get by with government assistance, with food stamps, and of course, and the welfare now is the 1%. So we got Gavin Nuisance and this butthole surfer. What's his name? I can't even remember his name. Gory Laurie. I just want to slap the shit out of that stupid bitch. I want to break his bubble. I don't want to hurt anybody. I just want to bust his bubble. And it's like Cher. That's what I was. I know I'm not violent, but when Cher snaps Nicolas Cage across the face and she goes, "Snap out of it." Yeah, snap out of it, Gory Laurie. Jesus effing Christ, man. Yeah, the white evangelical Christians are out of the closet. They want to rule this country that was founded on separation of church and state. Well, now we don't have that. The medical institutions now, it's been decades now that they can do all the harm they want. Just turn on an antenna TV, or I don't know how it is on cable TV, but all the pharmaceutical ads that poor people are watching now are brainwashing their mind, our most vital healing organ, with this local consciousness. I want. Lord have mercy. I was on my way over here and I was thinking of all people, people who remember Madame Chloe. What's her name? She was the black woman psychic. I think her name was Chloe, or I forget her name, but it doesn't matter anymore. She's dead. Well, she's alive, but she doesn't have a body. And I said to her, I used to watch her. I remember scrubbing floors all day, to pay for the classes for astrology, mystery tools classes, and all that. And then I'd come home and I'd see her on TV, and I really got into her. But by then, my own psychic ability was pretty out there. But I remember several times saying, I love this woman, but she's in big trouble because people would call into her back then. It wasn't only the white Christian nationals have phones. Anybody, like, we don't have it now because if I was a white Christian national, yeah, the phones would be on. But that's another story. And several people had said to her, Chloe, Madam Chloe, what was her name? It wasn't Chloe, maybe it was. You know what I'm talking about. Sweet woman and very talented psychic. She was given some ass kicking readings and blowing people's minds, talking about she didn't know what she was doing, but she was tapping into non locality. So, what it was, I said, and people said, you got to get a new tarot deck. And she right away could say, no way. No way. And then little by little, the months went by and the cards were falling. And several people said, Madam Chloe, you got to get another deck. And no, she stuck by, well, she died. And then I said, well, she had put, I knew back then before the first time she referred to that no, this was her connection. She had given all her power away. I've gone through so many tarot decks, I've lost count, dozens and dozens. I've been doing this for decades, but they wear out and they get bent. I was just thinking of what we used, instead of saying "f you" back in the '60s, we'd say "get bent." Yeah, get bent. But anyway, the cards get bent, and you get a new one. So anyway, word got back to her that what I'm doing here on the other side, and my connection to Tibetan Buddhism for psychics, because it is a religion of universal one-mindedness. It's a philosophy of kindness. It's not even a religion, and uh, and that's what I put it all together for me. That's such a great help for me. And then, of course, there's non-locality, developed by Larry Dossi, MD, a brilliant guy who's still alive. I refer to his books. Anyway, so she's her guides and my guides, somehow they showed her what I'm doing here, and she really was telling me, she communicated me. Yeah, I communicated, not so much anymore, but John Lewis, he got me he got me to be the activist he came to me with, a good decade ago, early in the morning in a meditation. It's I don't, he doesn't bother me. It wasn't, not that he was bothering me, but like, it was processing a session with a visit from him. It was a lot of, took everything I have, because he told me to put my balls out there and let them get chopped off. They didn't, but it got close to it. I don't know how else to put it. John Lewis said to, told me, you got to do this, or you can't look at yourself in the mirror. And what he was telling me was make as much necessary trouble as I could. And that's what I'm doing. Thank you. so, she's going to work with the Tibetan monks. Yes, so she's met several Tibetan monks who have guided her and healed her, and she's in good shape. She loves all the people. Don't die. That's why what's happening now, and as I said, something historic is going to go down next July, this July, but by next year, next 2027 is going to be it's going to be historic, fateful. I don't know how else to put it. We're going to get total proof that extraterrestrial life is harmless, if anything, benevolent. See, what's happening now, things are so out of balance. So out of balance. We're going to need extraterrestrial help to get the planet cleansed. And right now, there's enough people who have woken up. I think thanks to, it's a multifaceted jewel, the reasons why. One big facet is the solar flares coming off the suns, the Jupiter Saturn conjunction that hasn't happened for 6,000 years. I was coming home from the avenues the other day. I went to the shoe shop to buy good shoes because I didn't want to fall anymore. And I'm wearing New Balance shoes now. and they cost a lot, but I'm worth it because I can't be falling around like this. And and they feel good now. I have so much confidence. They wonderful place. It's called On the Run. It's you take the N Judah and you turn on Ninth Street. I didn't know there was still shoe shops like that. I mean, they measure your feet. They're just well mannered. Go out of their way. You can try on all the ones you want. I mean, I can't wait to go back there and buy more. You know, it's I've never so impressed. I've been so buying off the rack and being treated like shit and being treated like just a piece of shit consumer. So and then I said the last straw was every time I turn on the TV now I see Mayor Laurie, the man in the bubble, uh, telling you that scaring us, trying his best to scare the shit out of you to save trickle down Ronald Reagan's economics, because that's what anybody who tells you, they're telling you right off the bat. F you. I want to take everything you got. I want you staying stuck, working three jobs to live in a piss in the sink hotel. This is how people are living today. We got to get rid of Gavin like a hot potato, man. Flush that down the toilet, turd. And then it's totally it's the big money behind Scott Weiner. I gotta tell you, a leopard doesn't change his spots, and it's not that I'm nursing an old wound, I'm spoiling for a fight, but the man hired a fleet of yellow school buses, went out to the avenues where the new Chinatown is, and paid people, I don't know, $50, $100 a head, and filled these buses up with Chinese people, maybe poor. I'm talking like really poor Chinese people. Didn't even speak much English. To go to Dolores Park, because right, the high school across Dolores Park was having a big pro cannabis, get 215, and he was anti cannabis then. So the son of a bitch is taking money from the super PAC, anti cannabis, big liquor industry. Liquor's going to kill you. The whole Worth organization has proven not even a drop of liquor is good for your body. But see, Gavin's got billions tied into the wine industry. He doesn't want you to sober up. He wants you to stay drunk, kill yourself. Oh yeah, as I said, you got to be and no alternative healings now. No psychic fair for 3 years now since we had a cannabis fair or introduction to alternative healings. No, it's all now big money corporations, and we got the bubble boy. What's his name? Little piece of shit, Laurie. Laurie. God, he's an open pus, oozing pus wound. And that Wiener guy, he reminds me of years ago. There was, in all respect, he was a very talented country western guy, a very talented comedian, singer. His name was String Bean. String Bean. Every time I see Scott Wiener, I go, "There's String Bean." That's his new. When he's String Bean, or more like, "Where's Waldo?" They need to kick his ass. He wants the sacred seat of Nancy Pelosi to have. Well, it'd be like taking a hot crap and then rubbing it all over Nancy Pelosi's seat. That's what Scott Weiner would be doing to Nancy Pelosi's street. That's what he'd be doing to our civil rights. That's he'd be doing to us. Oh my God. And I just can't entertain for one magic moment that Scott Weiner. And by the time we even see this, he'll probably already. Well, see, this is just the primary. So keep in mind now. Ask the mother. Why is Frank? What did Frank? Ask him to lie for you. Ask him to lie in front of you now. Ask him about why he's anti-cannabis. Ask him why. I want people to start rethinking the whole nonsense that started when Ronald Reagan was handed the dossier with all the final results by the best medical minds that said cannabis is harmless, plain and simple. But see, he knew that cannabis would spoil the. It was the blacks and the hippies that were against him. So he knew he could get the blacks with heroin and the hippies with cannabis. So he made them both narcotics, made them both deadly, and then of course the prison industry and the rest is history. And I was 1980, I was screaming around like a madman. No, we got to stop Ronald Reagan. Reaganomics is, and Frank, calm down. We've got a brain, In other words, talk me down, saying in a couple, if this doesn't work, give him a couple of years. We'll change it. Yeah, right. That's been how many decades now? And now we got Scott Weenier. When you see these ads now, because you'll probably get these after the primary, you'll probably see what I'm saying weeks, maybe a month after the primaries are over. But they're still until November. So I hope this gets some airtime. So if you're fortunate enough to watch this, get to my YouTube channel, send an email of my show to your friends. And this is all, I'm not pulling this stuff out of my butt. This is facts. This is facts, Jack. This is this is the facts. This is observe. Okay, observe, don't absorb. Okay, so heads up now. Okay, by the 26th of this month. Now, see if my show would be aired tomorrow, you could be prepared for this. But by the time you hear this show, this will be history. And you could say, oh, yeah, I remember last month. Mars, yeah, it was right the 26th. All this stuff went down. Yeah, you could be saving people a lot of trouble. You're wasting you're just wasting so many natural resources. Hell is God, fascism's here, and you're saying get drunk, spend money. It's all about the economy. Weed can get you through times with no money better than money can get you through times with no weed. Yeah. Okay, so for the United States of America, all this Mars is in Taurus now for a good 2 months. So remember now, people who are accident prone, and when you do have an accident, it's happened for you. Remember, it probably is an initiation of some sort. Did you try something new? Because it's funny, this is a protective stone that, I've had labradorite before, but I couldn't keep it. Long stories, but this combination had me. As soon as I spotted it, I grabbed it, and uh, and and it brings out your inner what you were born to do. And I guess there was a couple of things that I wasn't seeing that this made crystal clear. And wow, the love that's poured in since this happened. Uh, I just, it's been like a light switch. So when things happen, it's happening for you. I'm not condoning, okay, be symbolically literate. Get your Louise Hay book, read from A to Z, because she just got it from ancient Chinese and it goes back and back. Oh, the ancient Chinese were very pro cannabis, but I guess with the opium shit and all that, now no respect for Chinese healers. They'll try to give you herbs. Drink this shit that smells like a dirty sock, and it'll stop you from smoking pot. Screw you. People say, "What college did you go to, Frank?" Screw you. I was the valedictorian of screw you. No, what's it? Bullwinkle. His alma mater was "What's the matter, you?" Um, yeah, so yeah, and then we have a full moon on the 31st. So listen to Pam Gregory, Kathy Rose about the full moon coming up on the 31st. The full moon carries an action energy, a steady planning on work on this month will launch into the yeah, any inner work you do now. Pluto just went retrograde until October. So we're gonna see now. I made some notes now about the Uranus. It's all about our soul. The North Node and the South Node is, I think, it's all about our soul, but particularly a lot's about physical and not really directly affecting our souls. Evolves, but souls are transforming now. We're going through a transmutation. We're becoming light beings, and uh, and all of a sudden we just are people are noticing it. People are saying, hey, what are you doing? You're glowing, man. Something's going on with you. You're tuning into your heart now. Okay, Uranus squares the nose, squares the windows of opportunity. um, uh, it's been going on, and as I said, it's going. That's 5 degrees Taurus, and then 5 degrees. Oh yeah, that's the Mars 5 degrees, and Pluto 5 degrees. That's the thing going on. So look for where 5 degrees Taurus, 5 degrees Aquarius is. That's all the action with that square. That's where you want to put your energy in those houses, whether it's say Saturn, close to Saturn, meaning mastery of whatever you're involved in. Um, where a Venusy thing, it's more about networking. Um, Boy, I wish I had the phones are working. I could be taking calls from you all, picking tarot cards for you. And this is just plain old bullshit. There's no other word for it now, and yet nobody's even mentioning it to this stupid self-centered. I don't know what he is. Nancy Pelosi. I love her. We're getting close to ending the show. I want to end it in maybe something a little uplifting. We're no. I think we're always going to be connected to our Creator. What a stupid thing to think we're not. But we're going from children of God to adults of the universe now, taking responsibility. And I thought this really hits home. But Nancy Pelosi, as much as I love her, I've shaken her hands, met her several times. Um, I adore her to this day. She's no saint, but I love her, and especially for everything she's done for the gay community, and civil rights and all that. But and all that, everything. I love her. Anyway, so and she talks about she can't say the word shit. She says doo doo. The grown woman can't say the word shit. What's wrong with that? What's up with that? I mean, she needs therapy. I don't understand that. Shit with Carl was it Carl George Carlin? He said the words you can't say. Shit, f, shit, fuck, piss, cunt. There's certain words you just can't say. And I don't believe why. Okay, so this is shit. Truth happens. I got this at the Anarchy bookstore on Haight Masonic. It's really good. If you have an open heart now and can get past the word shit, it says Taoism, Daiosm, colon, shit happens. Buddhism, if shit happens, it really isn't shit. Hinduism, if shit has happened before, this shit has happened before, that's Hinduism. Oh yeah, by the way, Hinduism. If your kid's learning in school, there are 4 elements. They're not learning the truth. There are 5 elements. Space is the first element. Every ether, space, things that NASA's flying right through is what we're looking to conquer space. If you want to call it conquering anything, working with, manifesting things. We're just pissing all these billions of dollars away. So there's 5 elements, not 4, but thanks to Hindu for that. That goes back thousands and thousands, who knows, eons of wisdom with that. So there's not 4 elements like that. See, that's non-local versus non-locality. We're moving into a non-locality consciousness. I'm just like in the covered wagon, with a few others, like Toll said, the new is here. It's the dying making a lot of noise. Well, they're sure having and this mouthpiece we got in San Francisco trying to scare the crap out of you, telling that if God forbid D passes and we're gonna, yeah, because you're the only one who benefited from it, you stupid bastard. Mother God, you should have a trainer, somebody that tells you, shut your mouth. Don't talk to Frank before you open your mouth. Pay the man whatever he wants. Put him on your payroll. You need somebody to tell you when to put an apple in that pie hole of yours, and just because you're your own worst enemy, Newsom. No, what I'm talking about now, that little piece of shit, Laurie. Yeah, gory Laurie there. Okay, so let's get back to Hinduism. There's 5 elements, not 4. Space is an element. Discuss it amongst yourselves. Islam, if shit happens, it's the will of Allah. Catholicism, shit happens because you deserve it. Protestantism, work harder or shit will happen. Materialism, whoever dies with the most shit wins! Exclamation point. Atheist, I can't believe this shit. Malignant agnostics. I don't know shit, and neither do you! Exclamation point. Judaism. Judaism. Why does shit always happen to us? Question mark. I love that one. They made a religion out of suffering. They suffer suffering. I don't get it. It's like when I had 20 something years ago, I had three generations of Farsi women from San Jose come to visit me. The daughter who I met, her mother, and her mother. So the two older women were in the whole Farsi garb, I don't know what it's called. And I said, oh boy, if the FBI is watching me now, they must be having a field day. Anyway, the daughter and the granddaughter were translating for the older woman, and I was trying to get the word celebration through to her, and there wasn't a word. They couldn't come up with a word to mean celebrate. It's interesting. And at that time, I had like a kitchen full of finch. I didn't have a parrot then. I had a dog, but I had like a lot of finch, at least a dozen finch in my kitchen. I love finches. They're just the best birds. And I'm just thinking about them. And she said, "Oh, it's bad luck to have birds in the house." She said it in Farsi and translated it through the daughters. And I just, yeah, yeah, okay. So that's about it there. So Judaism, why does shit always happen to us? Because you're in a victim mode, you celebrate being a victim, so you get more of it. Echo spiritual, compost happens, it's all good shit. I love this is my favorite. Rastafarianism. Let's smoke this shit. So to lighten up the session here, I thought I'd share that with you. Don't forget, it's never too late to get a copy of uh, Pissed Off, Voter's Guide. I like what they're saying now about uh, Governor Tom Steyer. The primary for governor is a clown car filled with 8 mediocre Democrats and 2 scary Republicans because there's a real chance both slots for the November election will go Republican. We urge you to vote strategically. We're going with Tom Steyer, the straight white billionaire boomer who's just progressive enough. And they write JUUUUUST. Just progressive enough. Tom's the only billionaire supporting California's proposed billionaire tax. He supports single payer health care, closing the Prop 13 commercial prop tax hole loophole. Is endorsed by the state nurses and teachers union. We like that he's put his money where his mouth is, spending hundreds of millions of dollars on mostly progressive ballot measures, important climate justice organizations like Next Generation America. Vote Tom. He's just progressive enough. Read our online voters guide for more on Tom Steyer's background. The legal sf.org. https// the league LEAGUE, the league sf.org. And then what it says here about Prop D. Prop D. Where are we? Where are we here? Uh, well, that's Tom Steyer. I don't. Prop D. Oh, here's a good one. uh, Prop D. Overpaid. Uh, oh yeah. Two dueling business taxes but only one can pass. Unions and community organizations put Prop D on the ballot to fill the gaping hole. Trump's big bullshit bill ripped the city budget. That's why we don't have phones, according to Laurie, because of. But we had before he took the phones away while London Breed was still hanging around. By the way, she left us with over the still's raising. It's over $1 billion, and we can't even talk about it in City Hall. So she got away, leaving us in over $1 billion worth of debt. And this is the bubble guy, the bubble boy. What's his name? Laurie, Gory Laurie there. Um, Yeah, so it says uh, Trump's, yeah, is it, okay, gapping the whole Trump's big bullshit bill ripped the city's budget along with on top of London Breed's $1 billion hole that she left us in. Downtown business put Prop C on the ballot as smokescreen to confuse voters and defeat the overpaid CEO's salary tax. Prop D only applies to companies with a top executive who earns 100x 100,000. Their median worker salary be over 100,000 employees, 1 billion in revenue. Prop D would generate an extra 300 million a year to pay for vital neighborhood and services like medical clinics, Muni, etc. These city services are all on the chopping block this year. Yet another Mayor Laurie's austerity budgets. AUSTERITY budgets. Yeah, he's top paid writers, filling with all these buzzwords. It's Reaganomics. Nuisance, Gavin Nuisance, no, you can't call him Pretty Boy Nuisance anymore because, after 50, you get the face you deserved. And he gets uglier every goddamn day. Yeah, he was real, you feel sorry for him. It was this, like, GQ model mayor, They had him primed for presidency now, and it's so going to be so rich to see him fall flat on his little face. I hope he falls in a grapevine and chokes on a bottle of wine. Anyway, hey, I'm a human being. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. Give me a break. I hate when people put me on a pedestal, people are there's people like my oh yeah, I gotta tell you this story. Okay, so I'm watching TV. This is about the state of the nation and how ignorant we are. Okay, so this is I guess he says he's been on TV for 20 years, I guess in Minnesota. I just saw him excuse me, I've been watching antenna TV now for a good decade. and And Gabby and I like early afternoon TV. You know, uh, she comes alive then, and she sits on top of her little perch on the rope up there. It's like a Humphrey Bogart movie, where you walk into a cafe and there's a parrot sitting on she's just like part of the atmosphere, and she's just content, looking pretty, just giving Gabby. And she just loves to sit there and look pretty. Oh, yeah, the mirror all around her so she could see herself. And and so there's this guy out of Minnesota. His name is the Jason Show. Big gay guy, totally out, very he's not. You don't have to. Gay guy goes off just as soon as you see him. Yeah, he's just he's not. I love it, and I love that it's every show he says. And if you're a kid being bullied, don't nobody be yourself. Nobody can tell you how to be you or something like that. And I love him for that. But the guy spent the last 20, 30 years of his life. He's heading up to 50 now. He's looking good. I don't know why he eats shit. His diet's crap. And I said all last week, a couple of weeks ago, plug in that he's going to have this amazing psychic medium who's going to, his mother wants him to be in the audience, wants to be in the audience. And there's this guy who's rocking the world, and I said, young man is, and I said, I'm going to mark my date. I don't want to miss this, maybe, there's somebody out there, I can't be psychic to everybody. It's an ambition. Who knows? So anyway, I made a point to turn on his show. It's like 1 o'clock weekdays there, and then this kid comes out. I got stuff in my closet older than him. He's got to be like 29, 30 tops, and he's sitting there, talking about and I was getting flashbacks of when I was that age when I had my death experience when I came back transformed, and the first books I read were from Swami Vivekananda. They were a quarter in this Haight Street bookstore. We're talking 82. I was living in the guest room of my old friend of mine, Mike Kelly, on Haight Street, and I didn't have any money, but I begged him for $1 or two, and I would buy these books and they were only a quarter, but I found these original written in the 20s by Swami Vivekananda, and there was a big, it got through to me, and he says mediumship is a trap. You don't want to settle for mediumship. And then when I started opening up and was in the mystery school, and there were a lot of people who strive to be a medium, I was like, oh, what a boring life. Yeah, it's the same thing, you know. Yeah, they survived their death. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, there's a document in the hat box in the closet you didn't look in. You know, yeah, bullshit stuff. You know, I didn't want to mediocrity. I wasn't going to settle for mediumship. I'm so glad that 15 years earlier I had read that by Swami Vivekananda. So anyway, this little kid comes out there, as I said, this little shit has doesn't know, you know, he settled for mediumship, and then he insults my intelligence and the nation's the world's intelligence by quoting Carl Jung without even talking about Carl Jung, because he was describing synchronicity on my last show. I was talking about I pulled a book out of my shelf from Shirley MacLaine called aging hyphen saging, about when you get older, and then saging she quotes like synchronicities 100 years before that, or serendipity. This is when things start happening, like you mentioned the color blue, and then all day long boom 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 boom, or you just are at the right place at the right time, or maybe something like catastrophic sort of happens and really lays you up for a while, but then you realize that was synchronistic because it's because of that I was forced to do that. So you know, you look for these synchronistic threads to go all through your life, and that says, yeah, this is God's way of telling you, you know, you're on the right path. So this kid's talking about how your guides will, your spirit, your loved ones on the other side, when they're will send you messages, and he's talking about synchronicity. And as I said, I threw in the towel then. I said, I'm outnumbered, you know, as I said. But I know there's a lot of people who are Jungian. He was the original flower child, the first hippie. He is the whole reason the 60s happened. He was the beat generation. He was the man who was, I love him most for his emphasis on psychoanalysis. You know, deal with psychoanalysis and all that cool stuff that became passe and now is a running joke. Okay, well the time's up. As I said, if wishes and butts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a wonderful Christmas. The way it is now, this show won't be aired probably. You know, shit happens. Things could happen, but until probably a month from now, who knows? The one I did the last week, 2 weeks ago, still hasn't been out there. So as I said, it'll you know, go to my YouTube channel. Eventually, they do. God thank them, thank Bayback. They do eventually email me my stuff, and eventually they do get out there. And I guess they're doing the best they can. I don't get it, literally. You gotta have a sense of humor, man, or you're not gonna make it. You gotta laugh, you know, you gotta laugh. There's an old Motown, you gotta laugh to keep from crying. It really is true. Oh, yeah, and another big thing's going on for you people I need to know. Big shift with the nodes, north south node. North nodes go retrograde and they change every 18 years. They go around the wheel. And the north node will go from 0 degrees Pisces to 1 second as I turn this over. Uh, Here we are, September 29 Aquarius. So let me see. August. By the end of August. Okay, here it is. August. Nope. Okay, here it is. Here it is. So the north node goes 1 0. Okay, 2 1 0, and then 2950 on August 1st, 2026. For 18 months, the north node will be in Leo. That's a big deal. And by then, Mars will be on that month. Mars will be in August. Mars will be in um, Gemini still, and then there's something else going on. Oh yeah, Jupiter will be in Leo along with the North Node, and they both will be, if not right then, but eventually in opposition to Pluto. So keep your margins permeable. I used to say leaky margins, and then someone said, "Oh, don't say that, Frank." But dotted lines around you, no thick minds. Show up teachable and practice kindness. Oh, we only have another minute, but I just want to mention oh, empathy is not a made up word like Charlie Kirk said. It's a wonderful thing to get addicted to kindness and compassion. And once you get doing these acts, not just thinking about them, but doing them. And like a couple of years ago, there was a rat problem. It's gotten under control in my neighborhood, and the exterminators put rat traps and poisons everywhere. And I was taking the garbage bins. It was the winter, and it was like early in the morning because it was still dark. But if I don't take the garbage bins out as soon as I hear the garbage trucks go by, the homeless people take the bins and live out of them. So, and that takes a week to get them back. So I get the garbage bins out. And so in the dark, I was undoing the gate to get the garbage bins in, and on the bottom of the gate was a rat trap, and there was this little baby rat around, oh, 4 inches long, and it had its paw caught in the its little toe caught in the trap, and it was screaming its head off, help me, screaming. And so I had the gate open, and I looked, and I saw what was going on, and I said, well, if I put my finger there, and as soon as I put my finger down on this little button, the trap sprung and he dashed out. And that's the same thing I do with flies. I got a cup and a piece of paper, and spiders, life, worshiping life. And I tell you, that's a high. I feel sorry for people like Laurie and Newsom and these poor sons of bitches. They're never going to know that feeling. They don't understand. Everything they're doing is for themselves. And you know what? There is no self. I love life. It's rich. Make an appointment with me, Gary Laurie, whatever your name is, Gory Laurie there. I love you guys. I'm going to head adios. Think love. I'll be back in the first and the third, back to that schedule, I guess, unless on my way out they tell me something else. But thank you. Thank you for looking for me. I love you. I love you. I love you no matter what shape, what stage of revolving you're in. We're all being transformed. Use the dream stage. So much magic can happen. You wake up feeling better. Don't take your troubles to sleep with you. Give them to your angels. Love you. Love life, and life will love you back. We happiness will lose all meaning if we didn't have Donald Trump. We got to get rid of him. That's for sure. Like Ed Lee used to say, let's get rid of the poor. Well, the universe got rid of him, didn't they? I love you all. Thank you. Bye.